All right, in this session, we are going to talk about how to use the Cdm Bridge tool to migrate works from Content DM into Hyku using Hyku's bulk importer functions. So first, typically searching bridge to Hyku, either with the numeral 2 or just spelled out like a typical phrase. This will come up as your first search result in Google, or you can navigate to bridge2hyku.github.io. And that'll actually land you on the home page. They have a number of resources here and information about migration and about the Hyku system generally. But in order to get the Cdm Bridge tool, we'll go to Toolkit and scroll down, and it's this top item listed. First, if you click on this wiki link, it'll take you to a bit more kind of tutorial or instructive information about how to use the tool. So that's a handy secondary resource to our discussion today. But otherwise, if you click here, it'll take you to the GitHub listing for it, and there will be an exe file in whatever the latest version is. I've been using 1.1 for a little while because it has an additional option over what Cdm Bridge had for quite a while that makes it very closely aligned with the bulk importer tool that we use in our implementation of Hyku. So if you click that, it'll prompt you to save it. You want to save the exe, and then once you have it, run the exe, and it will install this program called Cdm Bridge, and it will look, well, initially it will have a pop-up that looks like this, that will prompt you to enter a host name for the Content DM instance where you are exporting from. So if you are not the administrator for that, then you may need to contact someone to find out what that is and what port number and whether or not it uses SSL. But once you get that information available, it'll ask you to set some universal preferences for how the system operates. And essentially that's, you can mark which of these fields are required so that any user, including yourself, has to have that field in Content DM mapped to something in Hyku, so that the CSV that you use to import to the bulk importer for Hyku has required fields filled out. And so by default, this is already mapped to the fields in Hyku that are required for a generic work or image. And these fields you can modify. This is going to correspond to that column in the CSV, and therefore in your final metadata in Hyku upon export. The only one of these that needs to be changed for our specific implementation is abstract or summary. We have overridden that with description. And that is to bring the generic work. This is the template for the CSV to import a work into Hyku through the bulk importer for generic work. And you'll see, if we scroll over here as well, instead of abstract or summary, it says description. And that's to bring it in line with our two other work types. The OER work type and the ETD work type both use description. And so this maps them onto the same field. Other than that, the default preferences for export fields are automatically set up to be in line with our implementation of Hyku. Once you have done that, then you will have access to all of the collections that have been created on the port number of Content DM that you've entered during initial setup, or you can access it from the File Preferences tab up there. And these are all of the collections within our version. So you select a collection, and this is the crosswalk that you will see. These are the fields that have been used in this collection in Content-DM. So you can see these required ones are the ones that we left checked and are checked automatically by the system. You can set other ones as required as well. If you attempt to export this at this point, it will not let you. It'll give you a pop-up and say required fields not filled in. So you at the very least have to choose which field. Sorry, that's slightly backwards. So you have to choose what will populate each of these fields. These export fields are the fields in Hyku. And you'll see that abstract or summary has been replaced now by description because I made that change. So these correspond to these columns in the generic work CSV, and therefore to what the Hyku system is looking for when you import. Now you have to choose which field from this Content-DM collection will populate that. So often a straightforward one is you'll have title. The title for the Content-DM work will become the title for the Hyku work. Creator, you might choose, you might have a creator field, you might have an author field, and you can map one or multiple of those. So if you have both a creator and a contributor, then this will set them up. It's using a general CSV policy. So those will probably be comma or semicolon separated values when you do that. And so for our implementation, we only separate on the pipe character, as in, so that would be a change that you would make after you have exported and you have your CSV. Then you'll want to do a find and replace for the semicolon that automatically populates by default on this if you have set up multiple fields to be mapped to this same field in Cdm Bridge, which is an option. You do not have to do it. You can do it. And this Cdm Bridge is actively looking at the metadata fields that are used in your Content-DM collection. So you'll see this one, subject, date created, description. If we go down here, title, creator, photographer, subject. So this is very specifically the fields that have been used in this collection. If they have not been used, then you do not have it as an option to choose from. So you will map each of these. You might take subjects or description. But once you have these all selected for every field that you want, well, for your required fields, and then additionally for any field that you want to automatically populate with metadata from your Content-DM collection, then you choose to export. And we will want to choose the bulk racks, CSV, and files format. And when you do that, you have to supply a name. And this is going to run. It actually takes a few minutes to run, so we won't actually watch the process. But when it does, then we will end up with something that looks very similar to this. We'll end up with a folder of the works called files. So it's already named with what bulk racks is expecting to see imported. And it automatically names the files that are exported in a simple alphanumerical sequence, starting with 1 and then going as high as the collection contains. And then in the CSV associates that with the metadata that we took from Content-DM and instructed it to import. So I can tell you that, for example, this one I mapped collection to collection, I mapped title to title, creator to creator. The keyword, there is no keyword field in this collection in Content-DM. There is a series. See, that's working there. There is a series field. So I used that for the keyword because keyword is a required field in the in Bridge to Hyku because I've selected that. If I wanted to, instead of requiring that for the migration, I could say that's not required, even though I know I have to have something when I import it to Hyku. And then this would just be blank, and I could manually within the CSV supply my own keywords rather than relying on any field that's in Content DM. One thing to be aware of is that the source identifier is a unique alphanumeric string that represents this work in sort of in the back end of Hyku. Cdm Bridge will automatically provide a complex, I think it's maybe a 16 or 20 or 24 digit alphanumeric string for this source identifier. If you do not want those very long strings, which do appear, I can show an example of this, do appear in the front end metadata under source. The default one, as I said, would be a very long complex string. If you want to simplify that for your end users so they're not seeing what looks to them to be long nonsense data, you can simplify that yourself within the spreadsheet. But then once you have it, there's nothing necessarily to do. You can make changes to your metadata, add information or fields that were not mapped because there's not a direct correspondence from your Content DM collection. But then at that point, you would simply save in the same format that you do for any import job, save your CSV as a .csv extension with the files folder, group those together in a zip, and then import like any other collection. So there's a little bit of work that needs to be done to bring your Content DM collection in line with what it's expecting, including the renaming of the abstract export field. But not a whole lot. And because Cdm Bridge does have this level of modification, you could do some work to bring this in line with the ETD or OER work type, either here by renaming some of these export fields, or, and probably what I would recommend, export it as though it were this generic work and then overwrite the model name to either ETD or OER, and then rename some of these fields, or simply, copy paste the data out of this format into CSV created from the OER template and wrangle that into compliance. So it's a very useful tool if you have collections in Content DM that you want to get out of Content DM, bring the stuff over into Hyku. Pretty useful. I will also say that for our users on Hyku Commons, this is a service that I'm happy if you have collections in Content DM and you're ready to get out and move over to Hyku, let me know and I can help facilitate setting that up. That's a service I'm happy to provide. So if anyone has questions, we have about 5 minutes left.
I have one question, and if someone else has one after I'm done, please feel free to go ahead and unmute or put your question in the chat. I'm going to kind of phrase my understanding, and if I have this wrong, let me know. So if you go through the process that you just went through, the exported files will be named according to how Content DM names the files upon upload. Is that correct?
No, this system will automatically overwrite whatever the file name that you uploaded to Content DM, and it will name them according to this schema.
Okay,
so it'll
that's
just
like
overwrite them with,
thing.
yeah.
So if you have locally stored your files with file names that you like, what would be the alternative method? Would you just then export only the metadata from Content DM and then build your import job using the files that you have stored locally?
Then you would have a bit more manual cleanup to do in the CSV, because if in Cdm Bridge, there are 3 options for exporting. If you choose the metadata only, then it does not export that in a bulk racks friendly CSV. In fact, each of the metadata fields is populated not in a column, but in a row.
Oh, okay.
So that'll get your metadata out, and it's, depending on the size of your collection, maybe not too much work to kind of manually go through and move all of those into a CSV template. It might be, that's probably the simplest way to do it. The other possibility is, because if you do export the bulk racks and bulk racks file and CSV option, then you end up with this. So this is a key to, if I don't know which one 10.pdf is, except that I have the spreadsheet and it tells me the title here. So if the title is fairly close to what the original file name or my preferred file name was, then I would be able to see this, look in my folder that contains the files, and name it,
Rename it there.
deposit.pdf or whatever the original file name was with the extension.
Got it. Thank you. Anyone else have any final questions?